What's good?
What's up? What's up?
Not too much. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How's it going?
Did you enjoy the episode?
I mean, yeah, it was good. It was a good episode. Um, it it was a little predictable in some of the stories, but no, it was a good episode. Like honestly, and a lot of people are trying to figure out if Vaya is wearing a wig.
Hmm.
Because they said that her hair is looking kind of strange. We had the same issue when we were watching with Sophie because they were like, it has to be a wig, right? So there's this picture that Enfisa's red bag posted on
Hmm.
X. It
Hmm.
definitely looks like a wig to me, right? Like, are you getting that vibe?
Not as one of those situations where it's like if you wouldn't have said anything, I wouldn't have thought of it. But then now that you said it, okay, I see the photo, the one where she posted, "What is this hair?"
Yeah, yeah. So it looks Sophie hair like, right? Like it looks like layers on top of something. Is what it looked like to me. Or it could be tracks. Cause look at the top of her head. There's like
Hmm.
it looks like there's some tracks in there. I don't know though. I'm not good at like female like hair and makeup and noses. Like I'm not good at all that. But I noticed it and I was like, nah, it does look a little strange.
Like the hairline looks weird too.
Well, right, it's very uneven, right? Like it
Yeah,
doesn't start
it's like
and
it's like a wig hairline.
yeah, I'm thinking it is. I think we got another wig cast member. Nothing wrong with that, nothing wrong with that. But is her wig, in your opinion, better than Sophie's?
It's weird because everyone, including myself, focuses on her face based on her filters and stuff, or lack of filters when she's on
Well,
the show.
yeah, her face is definitely, she's not ugly, but she definitely is very aged for if she really is 27, right? Like
Hmm.
she's a very aged 27. I would get 40 something, right? Like that's what I get from it. Like I don't know how difficult her life was. Some people had a very difficult life. So sometimes they look a little older than they are. So I don't know. I think that the filters, I think they changed the shape of her face so she kind of doesn't look like the same person. Like
Hmm.
from the photos, like it reminds me of Rebecca and Zayed. We called her the filter queen because she
Yeah.
sent all those filtered photos to him. But he was totally fine when he met her, right? Because that was what we were all wondering. We were
Hmm.
like, is he gonna see her and just get back on the plane and go back, right? Like go back to Tunisia? Like he's just gonna be like, nah, we're good. But no, he was totally fine with it. So we'll see how it goes. Who is she with? I think she's with Sunny, right?
She's with the dude in South Africa, the
Yeah,
Indian
she's
in
with
South
Sunny.
Africa.
Yeah, she's with Sunny. So, oh, and we found out also in this episode that he is a Muslim and his family's super Muslim, and he's gonna want her to be a Muslim. So, like, we're getting the same story over and over, and it's like because we're already dealing with a Muslim on this season already, right? Isn't that what Adnan
Hmm.
is a Muslim, so it's like we're getting like double, triple dose of Muslim. No offense to anyone who's a Muslim, right? Like, but this is like the most overused storyline. I feel like
Yeah.
in the whole 90 Day franchise, it's a Muslim guy telling a woman how to dress, put on a hijab, convert. Like it's always the same thing, and it's like I'm kind of Muslimed out for the
Yeah.
show for the franchise. It's like, oh my gosh, another exact same storyline that's gonna happen the exact same way.
The girl with the wig, what's her name again?
I think it's like Vea.
Vea. Yeah. So, do you think what the fact that she like showers in the nude for Sunny that makes him overlook any of filtering
Oh yeah, you're right because yeah, when she's FaceTiming him,
in the
there's
shower?
no there's no filters involved, so he's seeing the real thing. So I mean, maybe the body is more important than the face for
Hmm.
him. Like maybe he's more into the body, right? Like
Yeah.
a lot of people will date like a solid 5 or 6 in the face, but their body's like a 10. There's plenty of people in the world. I think they call it a butterface back in the
Hmm.
day. Like there's plenty of butterfaces out there, and some people are totally fine with that. Like if the body brings what they're looking for, the face can be lower on the totem pole, and they'll
Mhm.
overlook it. However, but
Yeah.
again, I don't think Veya's ugly. Like I don't think that at all. I just think that she looks older than 27. Like that's
Yeah.
just my only gripe with that. I was like, and speaking of lying about ages, tonight we saw that Brian
Hmm.
told Ingrid. Well, he didn't tell her. I think the situation was like this was my theory. He was on a dating app. I think he lied about his age on the dating app. I don't think he like specifically wrote her and said, "Hey, I'm 43," because I guess they've been talking for 2 years. So he would have been 45 if he was telling the truth. I think that he lied on the dating app to get a certain, because when you put yourself on a dating app, there's like age limits. So like a woman in her 30s might cut off at 45 or 43 or 46. So they only show you people that meet that age limit. I think that he put in an age limit of 43 so he would still get 25-year-olds that would message him. I don't think he specifically was like lying to her about his age. I
Yeah.
think he probably put a fake age in there and forgot about it.
Hmm.
And then once, because they've been talking for 2 years, once they've been talking for so long, he was like, oh, it's going to be a little awkward for me to tell her I've been lying about my age this whole time. So he tried to play it off. But I don't know. I feel like he's kind of a liar about everything, right? Like he's been since we've been watching since he's arrived. He's been lying about stuff. He's like, "Oh, I'm super independent," and then he's like, "I need your help. I need all this from you." And then the age thing, and then like, oh, and he got really offended when she was like, "Oh, you used to be a drug dealer. You were in the cartel, and this is like." And I felt like she had every right to be offended. Like she was literally in the car hearing what he should have told her 2 years ago. Like I feel like your origin story of how you became a quadriplegic should be something y'all talk about early on. Like that should be early on. Like I feel like how there's an elephant in the room. Like it's an
Hmm.
elephant in the room. You should tell people stuff. And I feel like there's a reason why this man has been married 4 times. I think he lies, and he lies about stuff that's not even necessary to lie about. Like it's like put yourself out there, and because he doesn't look like he's 51 years old. So like
Hmm.
it's not like if you put his real age on there, women would look at him and be like, "Oh my god, this dude is too old for me." He doesn't look old, but you should at least tell people the truth. Because even Ingrid was like starting a relationship, lying to me. Like this isn't gonna last very long. Like the very first thing you did when I swiped on your profile was lie to me. You said that you were younger than you were.
No, yeah, it's weird that he didn't tell her before they met how the shooting such story.
Yeah, and she saw it too. She was like, "It's very strategic how he's releasing the information now."
Hmm.
Like, cause she was like, I probably wouldn't have wanted to date a former drug dealer, or a former mobster, or, a former drug lord. Like, I wouldn't, cause she's like, I don't particularly want to be with a criminal. But again, he's like, I'm offended. I don't feel like it's fair for her to say that. So is it fair for her to judge him based on what happened 25 years ago? Because some people on X, they feel a certain way. They're like, well, just because they're like, some people used to be addicted to drugs or opioids or smoking or alcohol. They don't do that anymore. So it's not
Yeah.
really fair to judge people based on
Yeah.
something that they used to do.
Yeah, I think she's using it as an excuse to find reasons to not like him because she's not feeling the whole handicap situation.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Yeah, I think that, but also he kind of made it seem like she didn't need to do anything because he was just telling her like, "Oh, I'm independent. I travel alone. I don't need any help." But then that's actually not true because when he got there, unless it is true, and he was just trying to gauge
Mm.
how comfortable she was with offering to help, because that could be too, because he does live alone. And I'm like, if you're asking her to do all this stuff, what would you do if you were at home and nobody was there? So he could have been testing her, but I feel like he doesn't have the lead way to be testing her, right? Like he lied to her and he's putting her through all this extra shit. Like he doesn't have, just like Lauren giving Faith a test, you don't have the lead way to test her. Like you should just be lucky that she doesn't leave you.
Yeah. By the way, if it's okay, let me crowbar in a question unrelated to Brian. Then we could get back to Brian.
Yeah.
With Adnan, is it just me or does Adnan's voice sound like Razvan's voice with Amanda?
Oh, see, I was thinking that he sounded like Muhammad from Even Muhammad.
Hmm.
I mean, Razvan. Let me think. What is? Okay, a little bit. I can hear that. I can hear
Yeah,
that.
but
Yeah.
the one thing that may be different for me is a lot of times if I'm behind on the live show, the live feed, I'll like speed it up so I can watch it at like 2x speed. So maybe that makes his voice like higher.
Yeah, that brings you up an octave or so.
Yeah, so
But yeah,
a lot of times I'll watch at 2x speed. So when at 2x he sounds like Razvan.
I mean, I'll have to hear it at 2x. I can hear that.
Hmm.
But I also hear like Muhammad from Even Muhammad. I don't know if you remember his voice. It was like a little kitty voice,
Yeah.
kind of high pitch. And I was
Hmm.
like, oh, that's funny. But yeah, I can see that. I can see that. So the conversation came up tonight by one of Tiger Lily's friends. They asked if he knew what he was doing in bed, and she said yes. So I think we had talked about this before with Coco, because I asked her if she thought he was really a virgin, and Coco was like, "Hell no, he's not a virgin, right?" Because Tiger Lily's like, "Oh well, men are just naturally known. It's a caveman thing of how to have sex," and I was like, "No, no, that's not how it works. No one is born knowing, what that is. It's a learning process, and if you're both virgins, you're both are gonna be like doing weird stuff because you don't know what's going on. So I think her level of delusion for me has to be an act, right? Like she can't possibly be that clueless about everything, right?
Yeah, her level of naivete.
Yeah, like no one is that naive. Like I don't know. Like I feel like it has to be an act. She's pretending to be dumb. She can't possibly be that dumb. Like no one's that dumb, right? Like I get
Hmm.
that there's dumb people, but not that dumb. I think that she's putting on this persona of being a ditzy airhead as who her character is. Like she wants to be like a Chloe Courtney Kardashian.
Hmm.
Like a
No,
little
yeah,
ditzy airhead.
I'm with you on that take. Um, yeah, I don't think she's as dumb as she portrays herself. And do you think that's her real voice, or that's like a
No,
character voice?
no, not in the no. And you know who else was using a fake voice tonight? Vea.
Hmm.
She was using a fake voice. It was actually irritating me. It was so fake. But she was laying in the bed on FaceTime on her laptop and she was talking. It was like the fakest, high
Hmm.
pitched, strange little squeal. It was driving me crazy. Why do women do that? Why can't women just use their real voice? I have no idea why they do that.
Well, I think the vocal fry. I don't know if they have vocal fry, but I know when women do have vocal fry, it's to make them come across smarter than they really are, like to sound smarter.
Oh, so they want to sound. Well, usually when I hear a fake voice, I think the opposite.
Yeah, like that. I think the opposite too, but their aim is to sound smarter than they are. But
Oh, okay. Well,
and then as far as the sex on their honeymoon night type of thing, I know this is kind of cliche, but do you some I forget who said it, whether it was just a comment or tweet or if it was someone in the Twitter space, previous Twitter space, but a lot of times you'll hear, like they'll just have like anal sex prior to being married. That's how they get around it.
oh
So
yeah, yeah. You know who told us that originally? Laura from Laura and Aladdin.
mhm,
She brought that up on her season. That
yeah.
since so they're forbidden from having sex before marriage. So men, in that culture, religion, have sex with other men. Because that's for weird fact. That's not wrong, but having sex with a woman before married is wrong. So that's like their way of getting around it. So do you think that the practice came from men? I mean, we did see him like jump in the arms of a dude at his when he was getting ready for the
Mhm,
the wedding, which everyone was like, "Oh, look at the Diddy, the Islamic or Arabic Diddy situation going on here." That was a little weird. But I mean,
mhm.
it's very questionable if somebody is like a virgin and then y'all have sex for 5 hours and they're teaching you stuff, right? Like that's very questionable, and she should question that, because
Mhm.
if he's holding her to all of this religious stuff, then he should be held to it too, you know?
Yeah, but like not necessarily the gay aspect of it, but what if it's just with a woman, but with the back door with the woman?
Oh no, no, see that they still can't do that
Okay.
because that was one of the questions that people were asking when that came out before. It has to be a guy. It
Hmm.
couldn't be a woman because, well, that's the way Laura explained it. Unless that's misinformation. I think she was in Qatar, so like different countries, different stuff. But I mean, also you're saying that it just can't be vaginal.
Yeah.
That would be considered intercourse in their religion. Oh, I see what you're saying
I
now.
mean, like you're still a virgin because you didn't have the
Right. Okay.
regular.
Okay. So right. Okay. So maybe he has been having sex with women just anally, not vaginally, and that woman is not deflowered or whatever. So she's not like this. What do you call it? When you're kicked out of the church, like she's not kicked out of the church, and then he's not kicked out of the church because they didn't. Oh, I see what you're saying. So yeah, that actually makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
These
So.
religions are so weird. It's so hard to follow along because there's like
Mhm.
loopholes in their religion where they can get around stuff. Because how you go and there's a loophole in your taxes and now you don't owe as much. Like people be finding loopholes in their religion.
Yeah, and I know for like the show, it's better when someone's like a extremist, but there's a lot of Muslims that aren't that extreme. Like they're very loose with this
Well, yeah, that's
thing.
what Vaya was saying tonight about Sonny. She said that he's not the strictest because he goes out to bars, he drinks. He
Yeah.
does some things that are forbidden, but he still wants her to convert, which that seems to be what every Muslim man wants for his wife. She's got to convert. She's got to wear the hijab. She's got to they have like these set rules that they
Hmm.
want to do, and it doesn't seem like it matters how strict they are with it, or how devout they are. Well, I mean, so far Adnan hasn't told Tiger Lily to wear a hijab. And she was showing skin, her wedding dress, you could see her arms, you could see her boobs. Like he's been pretty non strict about it so far. So I guess we gotta watch and see. I mean, he's being weird about her being around men,
Hmm.
which I guess that's more of a, I don't know if that's a jealousy thing or religion thing, or a mixture of both. But I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know what the deal is with that because he also hired like a bunch of photographers that were men that were supposed to literally videotape her getting dressed. Like,
Hmm.
so that was like, because I was like, so wait, she can't be in the room with a guy that she's known for 20 years who's probably not even interested in women at all, but she can be videotaped by three strange men while she's getting dressed. That's weird, right?
Yeah, that's very inconsistent.
Well, yeah, and I think that's the whole issue with some of these religions. They're inconsistent and they want women to not do anything, and then the men, as long as the man says it's okay, it's okay. Like they have the final say in it. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, so should we get to Lauren?
Oh yeah, so we're gonna get to the gonorrhea conversation, right? So
Yeah. Can
so
I just say something real quick? So I was behind watching the live show. So but then I think you tweeted about it, but I started seeing like because I was behind. So I started seeing like gonorrhea tweets, but I thought my guess was just people were being kind of like sarcastic or whatever. I didn't realize they were actually referencing what was happening about to happen on the show. So I was seeing all these gonorrhea tweets, but I didn't realize. I thought people were just being like sarcastic. So then when I caught up, then I realized it's not a sarcastic tweet.
no, this is legitimate. He has gonorrhea of the penis.
Hmm.
Or is it the mouth? I don't remember what he said now. Did he say, I think he said penis, right?
Yeah, you said penis. Yeah.
Yeah, because so he actually was intimate with a girl, he said, before he left. And then the girl gets texts him and says, hey, I have gonorrhea. So you probably have gonorrhea. And now because he hadn't actually had the conversation with Faith about him not being, what's the word? Faithful to her, faithful to Faith.
Hmm.
So now it's gonna be a hard conversation to have because now he's gonna be like, hey, by the way, I wasn't being faithful to you, and also I have an STD. Oh, and I'm also homeless, and I only have $46. Like, there's a lot dropping in this, and I was like, well, now, and he actually told her mother he was homeless, which I thought was insane. I was like, of all the things you want to tell someone's mother, you don't
Hmm.
want to tell their mother that you're homeless, right? Like that's just crazy as shit.
Yeah, and then there's this tweet that I quote retweeted, and let me just read it real quick. It says, "So Lawrence still wanted to sleep with Faith while he was in the Philippines before he found out he had gonorrhea, but he knew he was having discharge coming from his blank the whole time? Question mark. He's so nasty."
Yes, he did admit. that there was discharge coming out while he was there, and that's prior to the text. And he was trying to be intimate. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Now, I don't know what discharge looks like from gonorrhea because I've never had gonorrhea. So I don't know, how can I say this without like sounding strange? Like I don't know if it looks like something else.
Hmm.
So like I don't know how alarming that would look. I'm assuming it doesn't look like anything else, and you would probably know there's something wrong. I don't know though. I've never had STD, but I don't. I mean, this is Loren though. I don't think that anybody is surprised that Loren saw something weird going on down there and thought nothing of it. Right? Like I don't think we're fully surprised by that. I think that that's pretty standard for Loren, right?
Yeah, he's someone where diseases are scared of him.
Well, right. I was like, this is probably not his first run in with an STD. Like that was my first thought. And again, Lauren, sorry, I don't know you. It could not be true, but I was like, this is probably not your first rodeo with an STD. And who are you having sex with that you just get a random text that you got an STD? Like I don't know. Maybe I'm just a prude, but I've never gotten like a random text that I had something. So I'm like, this is a
Mhm.
whole different world for me.
Yeah, like, well, that's a detail. I don't know if I didn't catch it or not, but was it a situation where just like the woman or whoever he was with texted him and said, "Hey, I got this STD," or was it a situation where before he flew out, he went and took a STD test, and then he just got the results while he was in the Philippines?
Oh no, no. He said that the producers were like, "What's wrong?" And he said, "Oh, I just got this text." And he's like, "It's not my favorite kind of text."
Mm.
And the producers like, "Well, what does that mean?" And they were like, "Well, they're saying that they have gonorrhea, so I probably have Well, he said they have gonorrhea of the mouth." So he was like, "That would mean that I would have it of the penis." So I think we can put two and two together to see what she was doing. So that's how it happened. So she texted him because I'm pretty sure mouth gonorrhea is be way easier to notice, right? Like I'm pretty sure everyone knows you have that, right? Like I don't think you can really hide that. So when she texted him to tell him that she had it, he knew because he was like, "Oh yeah, there's something weird discharging or whatever." And I'm like, this is a weird conversation to have. Can you imagine if the night before him and Faith had sex and then he would have gave Faith gonorrhea? Can you imagine?
Well, it's a good thing she didn't let him sleep in her
Her
room.
room, right? I'm really glad that she actually created that boundary. It literally saved her because again, hold on, I'm gonna Google it. I don't know if gonorrhea is curable because you know that there's some of them you can't get rid of them.
Mm.
Let me see, gonorrhea curable. Oh, gonorrhea is curable with treatment. You just take a medicine prescribed and don't share the medicine with anyone, and it's an antibiotic. Okay, yeah. So this is a curable thing because there's some I don't remember the name of the one, but there's one you get and you can never get rid of it.
Like herpes or something?
Yeah. Herpes. Yeah, once you and Hep C, like there's some of them. No matter what you do, you have that forever. That's even more. But it does say that there's permanent damage. Um, if you don't get on the treatment right away, it can have like permanent stuff. But it's not something that you'll have forever.
Yeah, either way, I'm staying away from that TJ Maxx in Vegas.
Well, yeah, I would definitely stay away. And did you notice there was a really awkward scene of him getting dressed, and it was way TMI for me. Like it was like him shirtless and putting
Mm.
on. I was like, this was too much. Also, because we saw Vea in the shower, like there was some TMI in this episode, and it was that. But the Lauren scenes were too much for me. I wanted to look away. I was like, that's way too much of Lauren that I never ever needed to see. Like I didn't
Yeah.
ever need to see him in that state.
Yeah, what did you think of him having like the $46?
So him showing up for a 20-day vacation or trip with $46 is just despicable. Because okay, so say I go out with my friends, right, and we get drinks, we buy food. I spend more than $46 in that day, right? Between drinks and food and gas for the car or parking. I've probably spent close to $250 in that day. So the idea that this man got on an airplane, flew across the world to the Philippines, with basically no clothes, right? Like he said he shipped stuff, but he only brought one bag, and he had $46. And it makes me wonder, did he think that Faith was gonna spot him the rest? Like once he got there, because how do you plan so poorly? Like I would like if I'm gonna go on vacation, I would have to have at least like $1,000 or $2,000 that I'm gonna bring with me, just so I feel comfortable knowing I anything that happens, I can fix it, so I don't end up stuck or stranded in a weird place. So like the idea that he said that he had a paycheck that was gonna get directly deposited at some point during the 20 days. He didn't say how
Well,
much it was though.
we learned when he was on our Twitter space, it was I don't was it his grandmother that passed away or something? And it was a little inheritance money.
Oh yeah, yeah, he did say that. He was getting like $2,000 of inheritance when his
Yeah.
grandmother passed away. And I think he that's what he used to buy the plane ticket, right? I think he
Hmm.
said he bought the plane ticket with the $2,000. And then I guess the $46 was maybe whatever was left over.
Hmm.
But who does that? Like go to another country? Because I was like, I guess he had enough for the hotel, right? Because he did have his own room. So I guess he had enough for the hotel, but he had $46 left, and I guess he just assumed that Faith was going to give him money, right? Like, there's no other assumption in my mind because he said that he didn't have anyone that was going to help him, that was going to send him money, wire him money. So he just assumed Faith was going to spot him the cash, and that's a red flag for me. You know, like showing up and imposing on her life, and trying to make your lack of planning and your lack of financial responsibility her issue. That's an issue for me.
Maybe he figured the producer will spot him at 20.
See, no, the producers. I remember some of the teen moms telling me they would go to a restaurant and film, and the bill would come, and their card would decline, and the producers wouldn't pay for it.
Hmm.
So they don't. They literally wouldn't pay for it. That one girl had to call her mom to bring her money to pay for the bill. The producers standing there watching wouldn't pay for it. So I was like, that's pretty brutal.
Remind us, what channel was Teen Mom on?
MTV
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
yeah,
MTV.
MTV,
Yeah,
and I think it's on VH1 now, or maybe it's back on MTV. I don't remember now. I
true.
haven't watched it in like a really long time, probably like 3 or 4 years. I stopped watching it after a while. Like I saw the other day, there was a picture of the teen mom with her kids. The kids are like 16, 17. So I was like, well, maybe not that, or maybe I'm exaggerating, maybe like 15, 16. But like, we were watching this when these girls were pregnant, because I think they started on 16 and pregnant. And I was like, we've been watching these kids like grow up. Like they're about to go to high school or college. They're about to graduate high school and go to college. That's how long we've been watching this.
Hmm. Well, let me. I'm gonna review. Oh, what did you think of Nile?
I like him. I actually like him. He's fun. I like that he says what he means. Like I one thing I really love about people who are on the spectrum is just how brutally honest they are. They're so open. They tell people exactly how they feel. And I do think that he is in a relationship that is probably over his head. He's scared of Matilda, because I could see how fearful he was to tell her, like, hey, we're not going to get married on this trip. And I think that it's not like he thinks that she's dangerous. I think that he thinks that she could break up with him. And I feel like he's like so invested in this relationship. I feel like he would marry her on this trip if there was no other way to keep the relationship going. You know, those type of relationships scare me. You know, when you
Hmm.
would they would willingly do anything the other person asks without reason. I think that I'm scared for that, because I know that he really, really wants this to work.
Yeah, well, if Matilda was like, empty your bank account for me, would he do it?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. He said it. He was like, he's in love with her. He wants to marry her. He wants to be with her forever. This is his forever person. But at the same time, his friends were like, does she know you don't want to get married? He's like, no, I don't really like to tell her things that make her mad. You know, like, well, you got to tell people. Can you imagine if she plans a wedding for you and then when you get there, you don't marry her? That's going to make it even worse, you know? I
Yeah.
like him, though. For the most part, I really like him.
No, yeah. I think the fans are like, we must protect him at all costs, type of thing.
Yeah, I do. I feel like he's definitely in over his head, right? I think he said he's spending close to 3 grand on this trip. And he said that his pockets are never gonna be the same. His wallet is angry. His bank account is hurt, and he doesn't even know how he's gonna afford the bride price. I think he really is in over his head, but I feel like she loves him though, because when they did have the conversation, she was like disappointed, but she was still like, I respect that decision. I want to be with you whether we get married on this trip or the next trip or whatever. Like I feel like they had good communication. But I also raised my eyebrow a little bit, because I don't like the idea that somebody could be taking advantage of Niles, right?
Mm.
Because, he's very accepting and loving and believing of people, right? He's a gullible person, because his condition it can make it to where he only sees or hears what he wants to see or hear. So I like you said, we got to make sure that he's being treated well. That's important.
Well, do you think? What are the chances that he was? I'm because he reminds me of as a Harold, yeah, from Match Me Abroad.
Oh yeah, Harold. I love Harold too. Yeah. I remember
Yeah.
that.
But I'm wondering, like, do you think he? It almost reminds me of. It reminds me so much of him, where it's like, geez, was he originally supposed to be on Match Me Abroad? And they're like, no, we got to save him for 90 days or something.
Oh, I don't know. Well, Match Me Abroad film like 2 years ago.
Hmm.
So probably not. Probably not.
Yeah.
I think that because he's not trying to go and live over there. Well, no. Yeah, Match Me Abroad. They were going over there, finding a girl and bringing her back. No, I see what you're saying there. The connection. But yeah, I think Match Me Abroad filmed like over 2 years ago. So
Yeah.
if they did find him back then, it would have been a long time to keep him in limbo.
Yeah.
So I don't think so. And I haven't heard that they're filming another season of Match Me Abroad. I asked around, and they haven't filmed anything yet.
Okay. But yeah, he reminds me of Harold. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, yeah, I'm very. Even though he's like neurodivergent, I feel like at some point when he gets over there, I think the dose of reality may hit him and be like, "Yeah, this is way too much for me. I'd rather go back to playing Dungeons and Dragons in Alabama."
Yeah, I think that you nailed it. He's in over his head. This is a lot of responsibility on him, and I think that he doesn't know what he's getting himself into. He thinks that he's just in love, but love costs a lot of money. It takes a lot of responsibility, and then bringing somebody, from Ghana to the U.S. This is a whole process that I don't think he's ready for. I don't even know if he's financially equipped for.
Hmm.
Because $3,000 is a lot, but a K-1 visa costs like 8 to 10. And he was saying that 3,000 was going to destroy him. So I really don't think he knows what he's getting into. But again, you know, once he gets over there and he sees the severity of the situation, like you said, he might get back on the plane and retreat. Right? He'll feel like this is too much for me. I can't handle the stress and pressure. And hopefully he takes somebody with him, right? Because Vea's taking Rory with her. I would really want to make sure that somebody is there to travel with him. I would be afraid that he's going over there by himself. Do you feel like that?
Yeah, and then it reminded me when he said noises, loud noises, affect him. It reminded me of Josh from the other way.
Wait, Josh said that loud noises affect him?
Yeah, like the ringing in his ears, it like bothers him. I don't know. I don't know if you recall that.
I don't recall that. That's
Yeah,
interesting. I have constant ringing in my ears too, actually, that
mhm.
I've never been able to get cured. And I
Well,
only hear it in silent situations. Like the
mhm.
louder the environment I'm in, the less likely I can hear it. The quieter it is when the ringing gets really loud. But
So, so do you think Josh could have some autism in him too? Is he on the spectrum?
I think ringing of the ears is not necessarily a autism thing. It has to do with like nerve damage in your eardrums.
Hmm.
I don't think it has to do with autism. Like mine is because I listen to music too loud um over years. Through like I wear over the ear headphones. Like
Yeah.
remember back in the day there was like Beats by Dre headphones. I used to wear those a lot and I blasted music. And then when I got my first car, I would turn up the radio as loud as it would go and blast it. And that's where my ear damage came from.
Yes. By the way, someone that's listening to us left a comment. Debbie says, "Yeah, Josh had to go to a different room while his parents were eating."
Oh, he has that where like people breathing, chewing.
Yeah.
Um, oh, that's completely different. That's actually, I don't know the specific name of that, but yes, some people, they can't even sit at the dinner table and eat with other people or go to a restaurant because the sound of other people breathing and eating and chewing drives them literally crazy.
Hmm.
Oh, I didn't realize he had that. Yeah, because, well, Niles said that he can even hear the electricity through an outlet, which I thought was crazy. I was like, you can hear the buzzing of electricity. I've never heard, I've driven past like one of those big transformers and you could hear like a buzz, but I've never actually heard like a power outlet make an electrical buzz sound. So that I can't imagine that's easy to deal with, hearing, those extra sounds when you're trying to concentrate.
Yeah, and he said like I could smell the mahogany wood or something.
Yeah, that's, see, I didn't realize that the being on the spectrum enhanced your senses like that. I didn't realize that there's his senses would be so enhanced. So that's, smelling things can be really difficult too. Like I know people, they'll walk into someone's house and they're like they have a dog. And I'm like, how do you know?
Mm.
I can't smell it. They're like, I can smell it. They have a dog or they have a cat. I smell a litter box. Or like people, you like, literally open the front door, like they're cooking pasta. And I'm like, how can you smell it? We literally just got here, and it's really heightened. So yeah, I think that's gonna be hard for him because going to Ghana, I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of weird smells. When you
Hmm.
go to a cultural change, a change cultural location, like their food, the way they cook, the way their houses smell, everything is different. Like if you go to a person of Indian descent and when you go to their house and they're cooking, that might be an irritable smell to an American who's not used to the scent of Indian food being cooked. Like because we're not used to that. If you go to an Indian restaurant, there's a very distinct smell when they're cooking. So yeah, it can be a lot for him. It can really aggravate some of his issues. So I'm hoping that he brings somebody with him or he's there and there are people to take care of him in case he needs help.
Yeah, hopefully they have the producers that filmed with Tyree, so they're like they'll take care of him.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want him to be over there by himself. It's scary, for someone who suffers from autism. I know that he can work, he can do everything that everyone else can, but there are certain types of situations that are going to be very challenging for him. Like the newer the situation, the more challenging it's going to be.
So do you think he's going to be you know how everyone loved David and Sheila because they're sweet? So is he the equivalent of David?
I get that vibe. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't hate anything about him. Like
Mm.
watching his story, it was one of the. It's like every season we get a feel good couple. Like
Yeah.
people that we just like and we want them to work out. We are rooting for them. Like I got that from him. Like I don't know nothing about Matilda based on that little FaceTime we got tonight. I cannot tell what we're getting into.
Mhm.
But for him, I feel like he's gonna be the favorite, and we're gonna want to make sure that he's happy. If it's not with her, whatever. But we're gonna want to make sure that nobody's taking advantage of him.
Yeah, it'll be a situation where if it doesn't work out with her, everyone's gonna be like, "Oh my God, we got to get Niles on Single Life."
Absolutely, right?
Mhm.
Exactly. If he can't make it work in Ghana, they're gonna want to see him happy with somebody. And I think that when people who have autism find someone, I think there was a show on Netflix, I'm pretty sure it was called like On the Spectrum. It was like a dating show
Oh,
for people.
Love on the Spectrum.
Love on the Spectrum, right? And it's them dating in general is so difficult. So when you see them dating outside of other people on the spectrum, it's even more difficult because it's like the person is trying to understand and get to know you, but they also have to understand and get to know the things that affect you in your everyday life. So I think it's really brave, right? I think what he's doing is hella brave. And I think that I'm rooting for him. I don't know if this is the right chick for him. I don't know. I don't know her like that yet, but I'm rooting for him.
Hmm. Okay, now here's the hypothetical. Would you rather eat Niles's burnt bacon, or I give you $46 to eat Lauren's bathroom gumbo stew?
See, I can't eat anything that was cooked in a bathroom sink, even if you pay me. So it's just it's a sanitary issue for me. And at the same time, I kind of like my bacon crispy, like
Mhm.
kind of burnt. Not burnt. Okay, let's be real. I don't like it burnt, but I like it a little crispy, a little crunchy. So I could deal with Niles's bacon. Like when I cook bacon, I sometimes cook it on the grill. You can't cook anything but well done on the grill. So I could deal with it. I can't if he was cooking in the bathroom. What reminds me of when people cook in the bathroom. You know when you watch jail shows
Mm.
and the prisoners are like making food and making beer in the toilet. That was the vibe that I got, and I can't eat nothing that came out of a bathroom. I just can't, because you know what goes into a bathroom. It's nothing that you should be eating. So the whole idea of it, I can't do it.
Yeah, and the cook was half naked, sweating.
Naked, sweating, and then their sweat dripping. Like the whole no, you can't even pay me. You can't give me money. I just can't eat anything that came out of the bathroom. First of all, you shouldn't be cooking in the bathroom. Second of all, even if he cooked it in a kitchen, I didn't like the way he cooked, so
Hmm.
I couldn't eat it anyway.
Yeah. Did you see that GIF I made of Brian and I was like me sliding in your DMs
I
like?
did see that. I did see that. It was kind of mean, but I liked it. The
Yeah.
way he threw himself in the water was kind of weird, though, right? Like he kind of just, I don't know, like
He slinked in there.
yeah, it kind of reminded me of how like when a fish accidentally flops out of the water and then it just flops its body back in the water. Like it gave me that vibe because I was like, damn, he just like tossed himself in.
Like a suicidal crawfish jumping into the pot.
Yes, it was like I was like that was a weird way to hop in, but whatever. I like that he was swimming. He was being very independent, but I don't
He,
know, like
he
him
was
and
in that after he was in that scene after he was done swimming. His eyes were like as if he was crying or something.
yeah, Bloodshot. I saw the
Yeah.
Bloodshot eyes, but that was when he was talking about how he felt super offended that Ingrid was like, "Oh, well, you sold cocaine. What if she said something like, if you were still walking or if you were still able to walk, you probably would still be selling cocaine." I think she said something along the lines of that because she was like, "You changed because you had to, because of what happened to you," and that was a kind of a judgmental thing to say, right? You
Mm.
know, I'm not judging his past or anything, but people change whether something drastic happens or not. Like obviously, if someone's addicted to pills or drugs or whatever and they almost overdose, that is a turning point. But some people just wake up one day and change. Nothing bad had to happen, they just want to change. So it was kind of judgmental on her part, but again, how when does it ever happen that you find out of the blue you're dating an ex drug lord, right? Like that's not normally something people deal with. So she handled it the best way she knew how, right? And I feel like if he was offended, it's his fault because he should have told her ahead of time.
Hmm. But
You don't
yeah, I
just
think
drop that information on people like, oh yeah, by the way, I was a drug lord. My ex-wife, I cheated on her, and she ordered a hit on me, and then the hit didn't work. So now I'm in like, no, don't tell people that 2 years into the relationship. Tell somebody that a little earlier, you know.
yeah, for sure. But yeah, I don't, they're so is the understanding they're not together. I assume, right?
Well, I haven't heard anything. I'm assuming no.
Yeah.
I don't follow him on Instagram or anything, so I haven't seen anything. So I don't really know, but my assumption is they're not together. I'm assuming when he left Brazil, there was nothing. I can't imagine anything would even go from that point, right? Like she described her dad as ignorant and he would never accept. This was before she even knew about the drug dealer shooting hit, or whatever. Even with him lying about his age, before she even knew that, she said that her dad would never really accept him. So like now that she knows that, I think, and if she really does respect her dad, I think her dad is gonna be like, send him back to the US. That's not gonna work. Like I feel like if anything, her dad is gonna end it. Because I was like, damn, she described her dad as ignorant. She's like, yeah, he's ignorant. That he's been like that since my whole life. He's never gonna accept it. You're never gonna get his blessing. When somebody tells you something like that, and that's their dad, they know their dad better than you. That's basically saying like he's not gonna like you.
Hmm. So, do you think Lauren is gonna be annoyed at the gonorrhea memes?
I mean, he went on TV and said he had gonorrhea, so you're asking for the memes at this point, And I don't know if he's the first 90 Day cast member to get an STD because Asuelo had
Thrush.
the thrush.
Yeah,
I think it's what it's
thrush.
called. Yeah, so Asuelo had thrush, but it wasn't actually on a show. Like we found out about it. Like, well, actually, we kind of found out about it on.
The
the
last
the
resort.
last resort, but we more so found out about it on like a TikTok post. Remember? So
Mm.
this is like the first time where somebody's like admitting to having a STD like literally on the show. Because when he was on the last resort, it was an after the fact. He didn't actually have it anymore. So
Hmm.
we so but like now he literally has gonorrhea on the show. So yeah, you gotta know that there's gonna be a lot of memes and there's a whole Reddit thread now about your gonorrhea situation. Like you gotta know that that's where this is gonna go.
Yeah, and then did you see my tweet? I said, now I understand why the suits at TLC didn't want Lauren at their NYC yacht party.
Well, yeah, because he might be contagious at this point, right? Like they didn't want him to be there, and let's say he's what's the word? He's a gynosexual, right? So and he's polyamorous. So anyone that he banged on the boat, who knows what they would walk away with, right? So yeah, I feel like they didn't want to have him there because they didn't know what he would bring literally with him on the boat.
Yeah, or
They
since
knew they knew about that before we did. So when they were making the guest list, they were like, "Oh well, let's not bring the gonorrhea guy, right? Like let's not bring the gonorrhea guy."
Yeah, don't bring the homeless gonorrhea guy because he's either going to spread a STD or he's gonna, since he's broke, he's gonna like steal all the like plasticware and napkins and shit.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. And then all the cocktail shrimp. He'll
Yeah,
probably show up with like a carry-on luggage and steal all the cocktail shrimp because
yeah,
that's what people.
he'll pour it in like a plastic bag and steal it.
Well, yeah, because you got nothing to lose at this point, right? Forty six
Sure.
dollars for 20 days. When he's because he was like, "Oh, this should last me," and Faith is looking like, "Last you how long?" Because that's what I said. I was like, $46 isn't even gonna pay for my lunch and coffee. Like, what is he thinking? And yes, the Philippines is way cheaper. They had $3 Crocs. Did you see that? three
Yeah.
dollars. I think that you can get Crocs in the US for like 15, right? It's like $15. Like I was at Walmart and I saw Crocs for like 15 or $20. I won't put Crocs on my feet because they give me blisters. I don't know if y'all wear Crocs. I can't wear them. They give me blisters. But I know people that swear by them. They say they're really comfortable. They wear them all the time. But yeah,
This
$3.
like Gen Z loves Crocs. Like they're
Do
cool.
they
They're cool to them.
really? See, I actually think of them as the opposite. I think they're not cool, and wearing them would make me not cool. I'm
Yeah.
not saying that people shouldn't wear them. I don't care. Like if you love them, then wear them. I don't care. I'm not gonna say anything about you. But like for me, I never thought they were cool. Like I've seen like they make like what do you call it? Like there's like Disney Lightning McQueen Crocs. There's like what do you call they're like licensed Crocs.
Hmm.
I've seen those, and I've seen actually them for like over $100 for like licensed Crocs. Like they had like a Lightning McQueen Disney one. They had like I
Hmm.
can't think of another
I mean, there
T.
was I don't know if it was mass produced or they just made a few for promo, but I've seen like KFC Crocs.
Oh yeah, I've seen those too. Yeah, I've seen KFC. Yeah, you're right. So those looked cool, but again, I can't put them on my feet because I had a pair and I wore them, and then I got a blister on the bottom of my foot, and I can't have that. So I can't do the Crocs.
Oh yeah, McDonald's Crocs. Somebody tweeted.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I've seen the McDonald's Crocs too. Yeah, and I mean, I get that people like the licensed ones because they're the special edition or whatever. I think they're cool. I did see the Disney Lightning McQueen. Y'all know I love Disney, and I liked them, but I couldn't buy them because I can't wear them. So,
True. So before we end it, do you want to let Ibuka say something?
oh, is he here? Abuka's here. Oh,
Yeah.
what's up? It's been a minute. I haven't seen him in here in a while. And oh, Lana's here too. Yeah, if anybody wants to speak on tonight's episode or what we talked about, let's do that because we're this is well yeah, we've been on a half hour already. It's gonna be a shorter episode and then we'll be back Friday for the longer episode.
Oh yeah, and then this is our Friday episode. We put it on, all the podcast services, Apple and Spotify, etc. So yeah, the plan is to put this one on hopefully tomorrow. So yeah, we're expanding.
Right, right. It's expanding. You can listen to the playback in more places than just Twitter. Our biggest complaint was a lot of people didn't have I keep calling it Twitter, a X account, and without an X account, you cannot even listen to the playback. So we have expanded. Now you can anything that you stream music or radio or music on, you can listen to this on.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tweet when I put this up on it tomorrow. I'll make a tweet saying, "Hey, it's now available." So
Yeah, and there'll be a link in there. You just click on it. Boom, you listen.
yeah, and so follow us on those platforms. Just look up 90 Day Fiance Fridays, and then follow us, and then give it 5 stars and stuff.
Yeah. Make sure you follow, and then you'll get notifications every time a new one comes up. You don't have to wait for a tweet. You'll know. You'll get a little notification on your phone that the new episode is up, and then you'll know. And then you can listen anywhere in your car, on your phone, in your house, at your mistress's house while your wife is at work. Whatever y'all are doing, you can listen anywhere.
Yeah. Oh, let's see if Lana wants to speak, and then we'll end it.
Oh, Z's here too. Z's mom. Yeah, I didn't. We didn't have an after show on my show tonight because my one co-host has been sick for over 10 days now, and my other co-host has actually two of my co-hosts are having major family issues. So, fingers crossed, we'll do the after show on my show tomorrow. Hopefully, so hopefully everybody is feeling better. And my one co-host, she's been sick for so long. I got COVID and recovered from COVID all while she was still sick. So
Does
that's
she,
just
well, I don't want to put her business out there, but does she have something similar to COVID going on?
no, she doesn't have COVID. She went to the hospital. She had a fever of 104, and it took a week to break. And they gave her some antibiotics and a steroid. But she still has had a migraine for 11 days.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, so she's still and she had no voice at all today. So and yeah, and the whole she's been sick for going on 20 days. 10 or 15, 20 days, and she I got sick, got COVID, recovered from COVID all while she was still sick, and she's still sick.
Do you know
This
where you got COVID from?
I'm pretty sure I got it at either SeaWorld or Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was either one or the other that I was at. I'm pretty sure that's where I got it. I was totally fine, and then I think I caught it and didn't get a symptom for like 6 days.
Mm-hmm.
I think I had it that whole time, but then by the time I started feeling sick, because I took a test and the line was super faint, I still had it. And then I took a test 3 or 4 days later and I didn't have it anymore. And then, like, right when the symptoms stopped, I took another test and I didn't have it anymore.
True. All right, Lana, what do you want to talk about?
Hey guys, I just
Hey.
wanted to say hi.
Hey.
Hey.
I started a little bit too late. I was over helping my daughter. She had surgery on her foot, so of course she needs mommy.
Oh, what happened to her foot?
She had something on her toe, like some type of growth type thing.
Oh,
And
no.
so, yeah, so they had to literally go in between her toes and do a surgery right there.
What? So she didn't
Yes.
have time to plan. She went in and they did a surgery right away?
Well, no, she knew it. She knew it was
Oh,
coming.
okay.
Yeah, she knew it was coming, but she lives alone. And so she's like, Mom, can you come over here? I need help getting in the shower. I need help doing this or that. I've been cooking for her every day. And, I'm just a
Oh,
good mama.
She needs
that's
to get
sweet.
that Uber Eats and DoorDash. No.
Yeah, too damn expensive.
No,
If it wasn't for the fees, I would do it every day for her, but the fees are ridiculous.
yeah, you're
True.
right. You can get like a $12 meal if you go get it. It's like $32 if you Uber Eats. It's like a lot of fees.
Mhm.
Exactly. The fees are ridiculous. And then they'll tell you your order's on the way. And then they're like, oh, the guy just stopped to pick up another order and he'll be with you a little later.
You're right. You're right. They do that. You're not lying.
Yes.
That's true.
Yes.
You know what annoys me is there'll be times where I'll order Uber Eats and then like an hour will pass and they still haven't found a driver, and then there's a message in the app. It's like, hey, if you want to save $5, you can go drive and pick it up yourself. It's
Oh
like,
my
what?
God.
Wait, I've never gotten that
That's an
message.
Me
option.
neither.
I've never gotten that message. How dare them tell me to be my own driver
Yeah, they
Right?
for Uber
said,
Eats? How dare you? How
For
about
that
yeah.
just
pace, I would have canceled the damn order and went and picked it up my damn self.
well, yeah, if I'm gonna be my own driver, I'll just go get it and I'll pay half the
Yeah, and that's
price,
after I
right?
waited like an hour.
That
That's
is
crazy.
ridiculous. But yeah,
See,
I just wanted to say that Loren guy is disgustingly gross.
is it because he has gonorrhea or just in general?
I always thought he was gross, but ever since I seen that right now that he's got gonorrhea too, I'm like, I knew he was nasty. It just confirmed it for me.
Did you hear him last week talking to us?
Yes, I was on.
Oh yeah.
You know what? I swear, Shabuti, I couldn't even speak because I wanted to slap that man. I couldn't even speak. I really couldn't because I had nothing good to say to him at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think he's allowed to talk to us because he spills the beans too
Yeah, he
much.
said that he received a phone call that he is not allowed to join this
Yeah,
space
I
again.
read that. I read
Yeah.
that somewhere that he got in trouble for
Well,
talking to us that night.
I mean, a lot of stuff that he discussed, like there's a clause in the NDA that says you can't discuss production or any form of production. So when he said that they were making up words or terms and how things,
Oh,
he's not allowed to say that.
oh yeah, he was telling too much.
Right. Like you can't discuss like production and storylines and what a producer says to you or what to say. Like that stuff is a violation because even in the NDA for production goes for years. So like even if it,
Wow.
because some stuff once it airs, you can go and talk about it. But then there's other stuff, even if it already aired, like you can never really talk about what happened during production until your contract completely expires.
Oh, like Diddy?
Well, that's the thing with his NDAs when they all expire. You know what's funny? I was thinking about this the other day when R. Kelly his NDAs with these women expired and he stopped paying them. That's
Right.
when he got arrested.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I was thinking back because they did the Surviving R. Kelly documentary,
Right.
and all of the women that they talked to, well, almost all of them said that they were receiving pay hush money checks up until a year prior to the documentary, and that's right around the time R. Kelly ran out of money. He ran out of money. He
Oh,
couldn't pay these women anymore, and then the women finally, because apparently the person who was doing that documentary was trying to do it for years. They couldn't get people to commit because if the women committed to doing the documentary, they would lose the hush money they were getting from R. Kelly. So
right.
they were like, "Well, if you can't give me as much money that I would get, from him." It's more lucrative for me to continue, staying quiet. But he eventually ran out of money, and then that's when they did the Surviving R. Kelly, and then the lawsuit was just super fast after that. Like it was so quick. And another thing that I was saying the other day, I was talking to my friend, and I was like, you know what's crazy? R. Kelly got away. Remember back in the day, there was a singer named Sparkle, and she had a niece who was in a group called For the Cause,
Oh, yeah.
and she was a 13-year-old girl, and then Sparkle was recording an album, her second album, in R. Kelly's studio. She brought the 13-year-old niece who was in the
Yes.
group For the Cause to the studio, and that's how the 13-year-old girl ended up in the video with R. Kelly.
Yes.
And that should have been enough to put that man in jail forever.
Yeah. Isn't she
He,
the one that he apparently peed on the video?
yes, yes, that girl. And
Disgusting.
the fact that this man somehow got away, because when they brought the parents in for questioning, the parents denied it was her. The girl wasn't allowed to testify because the parents were able to say yes or no. And I was like, you got away with this, which is the most heinous thing anyone could have ever done, a 13-year-old girl.
Disgusting.
And the fact that that wasn't enough for you to stop doing this, because I was
Right.
like, you continue to do this to women for decades.
It's a
Because I was like,
sickness.
it's sick, right? Can you
It is.
imagine? He got away with it, literally, and we all knew he did it. The police knew he did it. Everybody knew, and he got away. And instead of repenting and becoming a Christian after what he did, he went on for decades and kept doing it. How sick
Right.
do you have to be?
Exactly. It's disgusting. The whole
And
thing is disgusting.
now we're watching Diddy in the same downfall. Like, right, we're seeing. Well, we didn't really. There was no videos or anything that we knew of back then, but now that we're seeing the video of him hitting Cassie and all these
Right.
women and all of the people that have um so much proof against him, right? It's he's got to go away for a really, really long time, and it's
Oh
like
yeah.
he could have stopped too. He got away with this for so long. He could have stopped too, because it's
What
like,
about all these executives that are quitting all these jobs? What's going
yeah,
on?
they think that he's gonna talk because when you go to federal court, the first thing that the feds want you to do is name names.
Right.
So
Right.
they're like, okay, so you're up for 30 years. If you give us names, let's say we'll give you 15. So
Oh
these
wow.
CEOs are nervous because they're like,
Right.
well, what is he gonna say? So they're like, well, I need to, because if you if you step down, if you resign, you can still keep, your pension, your
Right,
401k, everything. But if you get fired, you don't get any of that. So they're like,
right.
well, I need to now. No one knows anything about anything yet. So if I resign, I can still get my residual income. I can keep everything that I earn. So I think a lot of people are just really nervous. They're like, well, who's he gonna sell out? Is he gonna sell out anyone? Is he gonna tell on everyone? No one knows what's gonna happen.
Well, wasn't it one of the Warner Brothers executive or Warner's that stepped down or something?
There was like 4 or 5 different people,
Because
different
isn't he connected
executives.
to the 90-day franchise or no?
That was like music, Warner
It
Music.
was Warner Brother Music. I mean,
Oh,
it's a family of companies, but he's not really connected to, this end of it, like the 90-day
I
end.
see. I
Yeah,
see.
he's more on the music side. Like they have like Warner Brothers TV, Warner Brothers Music, Warner Brothers Movies. There's different, departments. So like the TV side of it, he probably had no say in what was going on the TV side of it.
Right, right. Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy though. It's I think what really gets me about these bad people is they'll do something horrible and get away with it.
Yes.
And instead of saying thanking God, right, and repenting and being a better human being and straighten up, they keep doing horrible, horrible things as though they're never going to get caught, and they
Yes.
think that they're above the law. Because it's
Exactly.
like, why would you do that? Like, especially with the R. Kelly thing, because it just baffled me. Because I was like, we all know that's a 13-year-old girl in that video. We all know he just
Yeah.
narrowly escaped life in prison, right? He
Well,
narrowly
we all
escaped
knew
it.
from Aaliyah. We all knew from Aaliyah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When he married her when she was 16. Yeah,
Yes.
you're right. Like we
Yes.
knew that this guy was doing horrible stuff, and instead of him straightening up, like getting away with it and not having to go to jail, he should have been like, I need to straighten my life up. You know what I'm saying? Like he should have said, this is a second chance, and he should have stopped doing what he was doing. But instead, he did it even worse.
Right.
When we heard the stories of the women after the 13-year-old girl, it was even worse.
Yeah. Do you think Diddy's gonna talk?
I don't know. That was another conversation people were having. They were like, "Well, the Epstein guy, his life ended in prison." So a
Right.
lot of people are saying, "Well, what if the people are scared he's going to talk and Diddy expires in prison?" That's what people are
Yep.
saying now because
Yep.
Epstein didn't have a chance to say anything because he passed away in prison before he was able to sell anyone out and get his plea deal. So
Right.
a lot of people are like, because I know they put him on suicide watch,
Right.
but I think that I read somewhere that it's a standard to put someone on suicide watch if they're facing 10 years or more.
Yeah,
And I
that
think he
makes
was
sense.
yeah. So I don't know if they think that he's suicidal or it's more so because he's facing 30 years. Because some lawyer online, they were like, that's standard. If you get arrested for something like 10 years or more, they put you on suicide watch because a normal person will be like, my life is over, obviously, for
Right.
that long. So I don't know if he's suicidal or he might actually be ready to talk. Because,
Yeah.
at this point, he might be, well, if I'm going to go down, there's a lot more people who should go down with me.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I don't know because I mean, obviously, you don't, especially in the hip hop industry, you're not supposed to talk, right?
Right.
But
Right.
when you're facing the rest of your life in prison, the rules don't always apply to everything. Like he might actually talk if he could get his sentence reduced.
Especially because that man was used to having freedom. He might say
Yes,
anything to get it back.
he not just freedom, private jets,
Yeah,
homes in different states and different countries. He could do anything, and he literally lived above the law.
he did.
Literally above the law. There was a shooting that happened at one of his houses, and the police came, and they told the police that the guy shot himself when it was clear that they shot the guy, and the police said, "Okay." He
Wow.
literally lived above the law for so long. That's why I think that's why he didn't stop what he was doing because he really didn't. He felt like he was invisible. He didn't or invincible. He didn't think that he was ever going to be able to get caught.
That's right.
And I think
Right.
it really blindsided him when the Cassie. But again, Cassie signed an NDA, and she
Right.
was receiving money. This for the duration of that NDA to be quiet. The NDA expired, and she was like, "Well, the statute of limitations expired with the NDA. I'm not going to criminally do a complaint, but you're going to pay me $50 million or whatever she asked
Yep.
for."
Yep.
And that was the Pandora's box, right? Like that once she opened that box, they were like,
y-
well, if she's gonna get her money and she gets to speak out, the women just started flocking. They're like, "Well, I got a story too," and it
Yeah.
hasn't stopped yet.
Oh my God. This is only the beginning.
This is yeah, it's the tip of the iceberg,
It's the
and
tip. The very,
whatever they found in all those houses, oh my god! If
I
we
know.
ever get to find out, it's gonna blow our minds.
I know.
True.
It's
So, Lano, would you rather have Niles's bacon or Lauren's gumbo bathroom stew?
Oh, hell no. I'd take the burnt bacon.
right. I love
Yeah.
bacon. I love crunchy
I would
bacon.
just
Right.
crumble it all up with some eggs and soften it up and eat that shit.
Right. Put actually put it in an omelet. I like crunchy
There you
omelets.
go.
I
Yep.
like crunchy omelets.
Yep. There you go.
I can't do the bathroom stew. I just can't.
Yeah.
I might
I
get gonorrhea.
from Lauren cooking it in the kitchen.
Right? Yeah, I could.
He's
You might
gross.
get gonorrhea from that. You
Yeah,
just
he's
don't
gross.
know with him.
Right.
True. All right. Should we end it, George? Or
Yeah, yeah. We did the. It's a shorter one tonight. It's a school night, so it's a work night, school night tonight. So we're not going to stay on too long. But yeah, we'll be back Friday for our normal weekly space. Because there's a bunch of stuff that's been going on. Because TJ and Kimberly apparently broke up, so
Yeah.
we got to talk about that. And
Yeah.
there's some leaked messages from Michael to bloggers, so we're gonna be going over that. Um, so yeah, there's some other stuff we got to talk about. Well, we'll get to that on Friday.
Sounds great.
yeah, and look us up on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, the links are in my bio. If you go on my bio on my Instagram and my Twitter, you click on the link tree. All
Okay.
of the links are there. So actually, the top two ones are the new one, the new podcast. You can find this one.
Okay. And you said it's on either Spotify or Apple because I have Apple.
Yeah, it's on both. Just look up 90 Day Fiance Fridays, and then this. Even though tonight's a Sunday, it'll still be under the same umbrella. Ultimately, when
Oh,
I post this as well.
cool. Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah, then people won't need Twitter anymore to listen.
All right. I would love that.
yeah.
And
That was the main gripe. Everyone's like, "Well, I don't have a Twitter account, but I want to listen to it." So problem solved. Now everyone can listen.
That's right. I love it.
and then on Spotify, I think you could speed it up too. So if you want to listen like 1.5x, you could if you want.
Oh, so
Yeah,
if I missed the first part of it, I can go back and just watch what I missed. And
yeah,
Yeah, you could
oh,
do
that
all that. And like I said, you could, if you're in a rush, you could listen at 2x speed.
yeah.
oh
That way it'll be 2 hours instead of 4 hours. Yeah, it'll be
Yeah.
easier to
wow,
get there.
Yep.
sounds good. I'll see you guys Friday.
All right, we'll see everybody Friday. Everybody have a wonderful week.
You guys
Unfortunately,
are
it's
the same.
Monday, but have a wonderful week.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah. Have a great week. See y'all Friday, same at 10 p.m. Eastern.
All right,
Sounds good. Bye
bye.
bye.
All right. Take care, everyone.